fitness, and wellness to help you live in alignment with God's design. Together, we'll explore practical strategies, biblical wisdom, and inspiring testimonies to strengthen your body, renew your mind, and uplift your spirit. Our foundational scripture is 3 John chapter 1 verse 2. Dear friend, I pray that you may enjoy good health and that all may go well with you, even as your soul is getting along well. This is a space for us to grow in faith and wellness together. Welcome back to the Well Woman Coaching Podcast, where faith meets wellness. I'm your host, Alexis Crisp, certified Christian life coach, fitness trainer, and nutrition educator. Today is part 3 of our Cycle Syncing for Faith, Fitness, and Fullness of Life series. We are talking about the ovulatory and luteal phases today. These are the times when your energy and your influence peak, and when you prepare for the next cycle by stewarding your energy wisely. If you have not listened to episodes 1 and 2 on this, I recommend starting there so that you have the foundation for what we're talking about. Today we are taking a deep dive into the ovulatory and luteal phases of our menstrual cycle. Let's go deeper. The ovulatory phase of our menstrual cycle is going to be, it's a relatively short window, days 13 through 15. And again, this podcast, this part of my wellness was inspired by the book In the Flow by Alyssa Vitti that I read, and I listened to her on a podcast. It made sense to me, and I started to implement some of these things into my life and did absolutely see a transformation in how my I was started to live in the flow, as the book title says. So your ovulatory phase, days 13 through 15, this is going to be the shortest phase. Estrogen is absolutely at its peak, and testosterone is going to give you a boost in strength and confidence. If you need to pitch for something, try to do it around this time. You're interviewing, whatever you're doing that you need a boost of strength and confidence, this is going to be the window to do it. As I said in the previous episodes, if I can possibly schedule speaking engagements, juicing workshops, any of those types of events during my ovulatory phase, I 100% do it since I started doing this practice. What is a scripture that we can think about for this cycle syncing and the ovulatory phase? Proverbs chapter 31, verse 17 reminds us, she sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her tasks. This is your go time. This is a season for you showing up boldly in the areas that God has called you to. What are the foods that are good to have during this ovulatory time? Good foods for the ovulatory season. Again, I was already juicing and having lots of vegetables and beneficial foods in my world, but I highlighted for myself asparagus, bell peppers, Brussels sprouts are going to be good during this time, and chard. I already had Swiss chard in my regimen. It made sense that I just shift it into this ovulatory phase and see if I could help to maximize the benefits. Also, spinach and tomatoes during this time as well. Some fruits to consider during your ovulatory phase are going to be apricots, coconut, fig, raspberry, and strawberry are in there as well. So, those are foods that are beneficial. And again, I highly recommend you get the book from your library. Anywhere you can get a book, you should be able to find this book. I have it on audio, and it comes with the PDF, which is what I printed and started to implement this into my life. You're also going to want to have high fiber foods. That's going to help you metabolize estrogen effectively. And I can do a whole other episode on fiber because many, if all of us Americans, are not getting enough fiber in our diets, but that's not for today. Lean proteins and omega-3 rich foods are going to help keep inflammation low. And I can't say this enough. When I learned that menstrual cramps were actually a sign of inflammation in my uterus, I immediately just figured then I can lower my inflammation. I won't have cramps anymore. And that's exactly what I did. Implementing that very aggressive juicing regimen and then adding in this cycle syncing, I no longer have menstrual cramps. I sometimes have to wear a special bracelet or set reminders for myself just to remember that I have my period during the 5 days that I'm bleeding, because it's that much of a non event for me that I don't feel anything at all. Not at all. I'm really not joking about this because cramps are inflammation. So that is what I was able to do with the nutrition aspect. Now, in terms of fitness, this is the best time for your high intensity workouts. If you already are a person who's exercising, this is your hit, your strength training, cycling, dance class, all of those things, high intensity. Go ahead and set those records during this time. If you are not a person who has an exercise regimen, you should. And this is the time to really get it up off the ground, set fire to your schedule and just get going. Sign up for classes, get the sneakers on, get the weights in hand during your ovulatory phase. And again, these phases for all women who have ever menstruated. If you have ever bled, then this is for you. Even postmenopausal women can start to tap into what their natural rhythm is going to be and make it a practice. The more you do it, the more comfortable you'll feel and start to be in sync with yourself and your environment. We have 4 seasons that are are ever going, are not changing. We have 4 seasons monthly in our bodies as well that we can tap into to help be more effective in our God-given purposes. So if you do have a fitness goal, please believe your body is primed and ready to set that personal best record. Some of the science insights about this say that high estrogen can actually enhance communication and social skills. And that's why this makes it an ideal time for meetings, presentations, networking, any ministry outreach. And for me personally, if I can schedule workshops and speaking around when I'm ovulating, it's ideal for me. I notice a much better version of myself shining through. So that's the ovulatory phase. We'll move next to luteal. This is going to be days 15 through till the end when you bleed again, which starts the clock over, and that's your day one. So luteal is immediately following ovulation. Your progesterone levels are going to rise as your body's preparing possibly for pregnancy. But remember, none of this is about pregnancy. This is about, as a woman, this rhythm that you have tapping into it. So, as your body is preparing for the possibility of pregnancy and what that entails, your energy starts high in the beginning of this phase, and you'll start to see you're in the gym, you're whatever it is you're doing, you feel great, and then it tapers down as you approach menstruation. It's not a time to feel bad that you're lazy, you're not feeling it like you were before. This is a natural part of our design. What does scripture say? First Peter chapter 4 verse 10 encourages us to be faithful stewards of what God has entrusted to us. This luteal phase is about steady work, tying up loose ends and caring for yourself so that you can enter the menstrual phase feeling restored. That is our goal. We want to enter into our menstrual phase feeling restored. What I have done and where I have gone very, very wrong with all of this is taking that energy. I told you I get very excited day one when I start bleeding because I know somewhere in the next 7 days I'm about to be on fire with whatever I have going on. I take that energy from the follicular and ovulatory and I'm revved up, fired up, doing everything. But what happens is that I am not a faithful steward of what God has entrusted to me, and I crash and burn in that luteal phase, and it leads into a terrible menstrual phase for me. So this is how I have been able to leverage these things to completely relieve myself of PMS symptoms, the moodiness, high irritation, all of those things. I've brought in a lot of grace into my health practices, and this is what helps me. And I want to read you that scripture, First Peter chapter 4 verse 10, because it says, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. And I recognize that I am not serving others well when I just completely deplete myself, and then I'm bitter, resentful, and just absolutely miserable during that luteal leading into the menstrual phase, and really no use to anyone. So I want to be a faithful steward the whole month long and just sort of balance out what I'm doing and not go so hard in the follicular and ovulatory stages, because I know that that luteal, that lower end of the luteal stage is going to hit me more aggressively. What are foods we should be eating during this luteal phase? If you want to have steady energy, you want to have complex carbs, these are going to be sweet potatoes and brown rice. Very beneficial. I'm a big sweet potato eater, really all month long, but I do focus in during the luteal phase. And even doing these episodes is helpful for me to bring this back into my regimen in a stronger way than it has been, because it's there, but I have not really been following it. So I'm excited. I'm learning as I'm speaking and sharing with everyone so that I can get back on track with this as part of my regimen. This is a great time for ginger. Some other vegetables that are helpful are cabbage, celery, and collards. So, again, these were already things I was eating. I just strategically placed them into the luteal phase to see if I can maximize their benefits and enhance my own productivity, energy levels, and life. Magnesium is very important for us all the time, but magnesium rich foods, those leafy greens, all of that is going to support your mood and reduce PMS symptoms. And specifically for me, the worst part of the PMS was mood instability. As a person who has mental health challenges already, having previously dealt with anxiety and depression, PMS actually was premenstrual dysphoric disorder for me, and it was highly debilitating in my life, in relationships, and I've managed to overcome that. Very grateful that I've overcome that, and the truth is I've just locked in with my nutrition and fitness. So faith, food, and fitness for me has been the key. But I know along with PMS symptoms, we're having breast tenderness, a lot of bloating, acne, all of these things. So when I say I don't have PMS, I don't have any of these things. I do not have breast tenderness. I occasionally there's bloating, but I recognize that if I were to bring this nutrition flow back into my life as I was before, that would probably decrease those symptoms as well. So, all of the PMS symptoms that cause discomfort before you even get your period, it is possible to change what you're eating, how you're exercising, and just see if you can eliminate it. Mint tea is going to be helpful during this time, very helpful for relaxation. So, chamomile and mint tea are things that you can bring in to your nutrition. Now, what should we be doing for fitness during this time? Early in the cycle, I told you this was days 15 through 28. So, early on, your energy is still going to be high. So, you can continue doing whatever high level workout that you're doing. Your HIIT workouts are fine, but also consider more gentle movements like Pilates and walking, and start to get into some light strength training because you are preparing for your menstrual phase. So that's what to do during your luteal phase. We want to maintain steady energy, have magnesium rich foods, and then also stay moderate in our intensity of workouts starting to shift and prepare for our exciting time of rest on day one, when day one comes again. So there are things that we can do to always have grace and be good stewards for ourselves. Our ovulatory and luteal phases, they remind us that there's a time to shine, yes, but there's also a time to slow down. And I can go back again. We'll go back again to Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1, because there is a time for everything under the sun. When we use our high energy days and we're making progress, that feels great. But you can also take your lower energy days to reflect and prepare, and that can feel great too. Instead of being down on yourself that your energy is low, take it as a time to reflect and prepare, and then we can honor God's design instead of fighting against it. What are some action steps that we can take for this week? This week, continue to track your phases. Obviously, we're all in different phases, so you're not necessarily in ovulatory and luteal, but just continue to track where you're at in your cycle and maybe start to plan your most social and high energy workouts during that time. I did, and it worked for me. People wanted to go out to dinner or let's get together for whatever, and I said, "What would it hurt? You don't have to tell people, well, I'm not ovulating. This isn't anything we're sharing necessarily with anyone. These are just private notes you can make to yourself to say, what would happen if I scheduled these events that I don't generally feel like going to? I don't generally feel like doing XYZ social thing. But what if I did it around the time I was ovulating just to see if I brought a little bit more joy and enthusiasm to this interaction? That's what I did, and it was beneficial to me. And I'm always excited to share these little tips and strategies that have worked for me. And all of this is ultimately leading to my journey to overcome anxiety and depression, because anxiety and depression don't just live in one corner of your life, it invades everything. Like I said, my menstrual cycle was a wreck, relationships a wreck as a result of that, work not focused, all of these things all askew all over the place. So this was something that I brought into my wellness toolkit to see, can this practice of honoring this rhythm that God has placed in me help me to feel better and show up better in my life? And it did. I tried it and it worked. And I really, really encourage everyone to look into it and share this information, because there are younger women in our lives that could highly benefit from getting this information early on. Next week, we'll wrap up the series, putting it all together so you can make cycle syncing a sustainable part of your lifestyle. Thank you for joining me on the Well Woman Coaching Podcast. My prayer is that today's message inspires you to care for your body, strengthen your spirit, and walk boldly in your God given purpose. If this episode blessed you, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another woman ready to live well. Find more resources and coaching at wellwomancoaching.net. Until next time, remember 3 John chapter 1 verse 2. Dear friend, I pray that you may enjoy good health and that all may go well with you, even as your soul is getting along well. Let's keep growing in faith and wellness together.